Hey everyone, it's Blockchain Bernie with my latest episode 245. And this is an update on the Xandeum architecture. So Xandeum, if you don't know it, we're building that storage layer for the Solana blockchain and scalable storage layer, blockchain grade storage integrated into smart contracts. So that's super innovative and it's unheard of basically. And I have some updates for you now on the technical architecture. There's also lots of updates on what you can do to participate early on. So listen to this video all the way to the end because there are a few things how you can participate. But now let's dive into some technicalities here on the architecture, how things are actually going to work out. So let's look here. We have three main components of the actual software that we're building, and we're making progress here, and we're actually building piece for piece. So there are a few things here. First of all, we have the doc, right? Doc, and then doc. And then we have a second piece of the architecture, which is called Atlas. And we have the third piece, which are the pods. Okay, so let's start with the doc, and let me give you a few more things here. We get back to this picture here, to this overview soon. So if you look at the Solana blockchain, right, we have all the validators down here, right, and it's like, you know, on Solana mainnet, it's, I don't know, 1,700, 1,800. I always say like 2,000, right? So lots of validators here. And then we have the so-called RPC nodes, RPC. And RPC, that stands for remote procedure call. So that's kind of a technical term here. But what happens when you have apps here, right? The apps, you have your screen here, your mouse, and this is like a web interface on your app. And these apps call the RPC nodes. And the RPC nodes are like a gateway to access the blockchain, right? These RPC nodes are a little bit fatter here than the actual validators because they need to store way more history, right? They are your gateway to access the blockchain, and they can handle queries. They cache a lot of data, even today, just with the Solana blockchain. So with those RPC nodes, that's where most of the music happens. That's where we're building that Xandeum part here of the validator software. It's going to be mainly within the RPC nodes. So apps now can not only send normal Solana transactions here, they can also send X transactions, Xandeum transactions, which are storage-enabled transactions. They send that to the validator software on the RPC nodes, and the RPC nodes have to be Xandeum enabled in order to support that, right? So, and if we look at, and I just made a little X here, right? And this X is actually what I called the doc, right? So what happens here is if we have a larger picture of that RPC node, right? A larger picture here. This is the RPC. And what's running on that RPC node is the standard Solana validator software. But we're making a little doc here, right? And that's a little part here within the validator software that we've already developed, right? And this is communicating with a piece of software that we call the doc, and that's running on the same hardware as that RPC node, right? And this separation of concerns here between this and this, that makes it easy for existing RPC providers to adopt our solution, right? Because this is a small change here on the validator software that they are running, so they can see for themselves, oh, that's easy. And then this whole thing here is running as a sidecar, right? And that sidecar was really, really important to us on the architecture because we want those RPC providers to adopt that solution They want to see what's going on. They would fear if there's lots of changes to the validator software that, a bug in the doc of the Xandeum software might, drag down their validator and things like that. So that's why we separated it. This doc here is a separate Linux process, and it is completely decoupled from the validator software. We're using IPC, inter-process communication here, in order for these things to communicate with each other. It is super fast, but it's completely separated. So that's awesome. So why is this thing called the dock? Because this thing is communicating out here through the internet with the other parts of the Xandeum architecture, right? So what do we have now? Well, we have the PNodes, as you all know, right? Those are the storage provider nodes. PNodes, right? This is a PNode. And within the PNode, we have what's called a pod. And this pod is actually storing all the data. But we also have an Atlas agent in here, Atlas. So what's the difference between the pods and the Atlas? So as you know, all data that's stored on the Xandeum storage layer is paged, kind of chopped into chunks. And, we in IT, we say it's paged into pages. Pages have a constant length, let's say like 128 kilobytes or anything like that. And all these pages are stored in the pods. But what we also need is Atlas. And Atlas is kind of the directory, how all these files and files names and subdirectories of that file system that we're building, how that is mapped to each of those pages, right? So Atlas will tell you, what page is on what pod, how often does it need to be copied in order to have the redundancy done, and all these type of things. So Atlas is kind of our distributed database. It lives on all the PNodes, and maybe also on some of the RPC nodes, and it gives you that distributed a database with the knowledge of all the mapping, right? So yeah, so that's the architecture. And again, this whole storage is blockchain grade, right? So what does blockchain grade mean? It means that, now I have to do this here, huh? Blockchain grade means it has all the guarantees that we usually associate with blockchain, right? Which means tamper-proof, which means censorship resistant, and all these things, right? And while Xandeum is not a blockchain of its own, it certainly has some of those features, and basically all of these guarantees here, just because the PNode network, the PNodes are being supervised and overseen by the validators, by the RPC nodes and all these type of things. The PNodes have a BFT mechanism, Byzantine fault tolerance, among themselves. So there is some staking among the PNodes. So we have all these blockchain grade guarantees. And that is the innovation here, to have a really blockchain grade storage that's integrated into these smart contracts. And with these architecture upgrades, guys, there's a few things what you can do. So you already know the DevNet for the validator nodes in our DevNet. It's going to start within the next few days, I should say, right? So we're launching that. So stay informed. Go to xandeum.network and sign up for our email list, sign up for our Discord, and sign up for our X account. And more than that, we will also be launching the PNodes, right? The PNodes running the pods and Atlas, which will be the core of the whole Xandeum solution. I'm super excited about all of these PNodes. There will be an event. They will be, of course, incentivized. So you need to run, if you want to participate, you run our PNodes software and you get incentives in XAND tokens and locked XAND tokens, and you'll just be there from day one, right? So now with all these RPCs that I talked about, we need to talk RPCs, right? So with these RPCs, think about it. We need special Xandeum-enabled RPCs where all these storage-enabled decentralized apps, right? I call them SED apps, SED, storage-enabled decentralized apps, SED apps. All these SED apps, they need to go to a Xandeum-enabled RPC. They cannot run these storage-enabled apps on just a regular Solana RPC from Helios, from Block One, from Triton, I don't know, that are all out there because they, as of now, don't support Xandeum. And of course, we want them to support Xandeum, right? We don't know when they will support Xandeum, but there is a big, big opportunity, right? If you are entrepreneurial minded, and you think you can be early in this game and then position yourself as being one of the major RPC providers later on when Xandeum takes off, you can start running RPC nodes in our DevNet really, really early on with our doc software that's on there, with the modified a validator client, with all these types of things. But hey, this is only because, think about it, if you really want to run that RPC infrastructure, later on, you're one of maybe 5, 6, 7 providers for the whole Xandeum universe as it's going to be there. And this is quite an operation, right? You need to have all the experts up there. You need to invest a lot into physical infrastructure in that day. And you need to be an entrepreneur, right? You need to market your services also, right? But if anyone in the audience is thinking of that, right, you can get a head start here. If you run those RPCs in our DevNet, you are so well positioned to become a leader later on as one of the leading RPC providers in the Xandeum network. And we are working on a program here to give future RPC providers training, certifications, insight into how this all is going to work, run RPC nodes for the upcoming Xandipedia solution that is there. This is not for everyone, right? It's not for a hobbyist that thinks like, oh, I can run a node from home, like all these Helium mobile providers and stuff like that, or I can run a Bitcoin miner somewhere, stuff like that. This is like a serious business that might be coming out of that, right? And I'm not sure if anyone in this audience is one of these, but if you think you're one of these, just contact me, right? Leave me a message here in the comments so we can figure out how to get in contact, or send me a message on Discord or on X. My DMs are open on X, by the way. And reach out to me, and we can figure things out. But we also might have an official program setting up for future RPC providers. It is, something super exciting. And, we just, as Xandeum, we don't want to be that RPC. We might have to provide RPCs in the beginning, and we will, but it's not our core strength, right? We feel like, there's RPC providers out there that want to run this serious business, and it is serious and large business. And if you want a head start there and work with us and get special treatment and early documentation and training and certification, all these type of things, right? And early access, that's the most important thing, getting a head start here, right? That's something we want to do with you, right? So that's all the architecture updates that I have for you today. The 3 components, the doc, Atlas, and the pods. Those form those are the three high-level building blocks of the Xandeum solution. Again, the goal is we're solving the blockchain storage trilemma. So it's a storage layer like a giant file system, random access file system that's tightly integrated into the smart contracts. So you can use the regular Solana tooling and also, running on other chains and doing that trust anchoring that we do right now with the Solana chain. We might even do some trust anchoring on Ethereum as well with the new architecture, which might be awesome. And just being the storage layer out there for blockchain and for smart contracts. It's all super, super exciting. We're making great strides on the architecture. We're making great strides on actually implementing the things here, and DevNet launching still this year with the validator nodes, with the PNodes early next year, and then with the RPCs, right? If you think you want to build up that business and get a head start and be one of the major RPC providers later on, for the Xandeum storage layer, right, on Solana and maybe even other blockchains, right? Reach out to us. There might be an official program that's coming out sometime also early next year. But if you can't wait for that official program to come out, just contact us earlier on. And I hope this little overview has given you some insight on how it all works. I have that ask for you, as always. Give me that like button, destroy the like button, and give me some comments here. And please, please make it real comments, right? Don't comment just for the, I appreciate any comment, but hey, if you can make it a little bit qualified and give me some feedback about what I actually said, what you think about it, what you'd like to hear or not hear in the future, and all these things, I would appreciate your comments even more. And subscribe to my channel, subscribe to all of our channels on Xandeum.network. For today, thanks so much for watching, guys. Catch you later.